The Marvel Cinematic Universe has long been the gold standard for interconnected storytelling, blending superhero spectacle with deep character arcs that have defined blockbuster filmmaking for over a decade. However, in recent years, Marvel Studios has struggled to maintain the momentum that made its Infinity Saga a cultural phenomenon. With Captain America Brave New World, the franchise attempts to reset its footing by passing the shield to Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie. But the result is a film that, while ambitious, ultimately stumbles under the weight of its own expectations. To understand where Brave New World lands in the grand scheme of the MCU, we need to look at the past few years. Since the groundbreaking success of Avengers Endgame, Marvel has been grappling with franchise fatigue, struggling to recapture the same level of narrative depth and audience enthusiasm. Phase 4 and 5 have been marked by a mixed reception, with films like Eternals and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania failing to resonate in the way Iron Man or Captain America: The Winter Soldier once did. One of the most glaring missteps was The Marvels, which not only underperformed at the box office but became a symbol of the MCU's current identity crisis. Despite featuring fan-favorite characters like Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan, film struggled with weak storytelling and a bloated universe that no longer feels as tightly connected as it once did. Meanwhile, the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine has sparked some renewed interest, largely due to Ryan Reynolds' return and the inclusion of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. The film's self-aware humor and promise of multiversal mayhem could be the breath of fresh air Marvel needs. But then again, fans have been burned by big promises before. That's where Captain America: Brave New World enters. A film intended to reinvigorate the grounded political thriller aspects of the MCU, but instead lands in the middle of an identity crisis. Directed by Julius Ona, Brave New World picks up with Sam Wilson embracing his new role as Captain America, a mantle passed to him by Steve Rogers. The film's narrative intertwines geopolitical intrigue with superhero action, as Sam faces challenges both on a personal level and in the broader global landscape. The return of Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, Harrison Ford, as the newly elected USA president introduces a subplot involving the search for adamantium, hinting at potential X-Men connections. However, these promising plot threads struggle to come together in a cohesive, engaging way. Anthony Mackie delivers a solid performance, capturing Sam's internal struggle with stepping into Steve Rogers' legacy. However, the script does little to explore the deeper implications of a Black Captain America on the world stage, a missed opportunity given the powerful themes introduced in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Mackie's chemistry with co-stars like Danny Ramirez, Joaquin Torres, and Liv Tyler, Betty Ross, is serviceable, but the film lacks the emotional weight that made previous Captain America films so compelling. One of the biggest disappointments is the underutilization of Sam's dynamic with Joaquin Torres, who was set up as the new Falcon in previous MCU entries. Instead of exploring their mentor-protege relationship or the struggles of legacy in a world that doesn't fully accept them, Torres is left with little to do, making his inclusion feel like an afterthought rather than a meaningful part of the story. Harrison Ford's portrayal of President Ross adds gravitas, particularly as his transformation into the Red Hulk is one of the film's biggest and most predictable moments. Yet even this feels like a CGI-heavy distraction rather than an organic part of the story. The film barely acknowledges the wider implications of Red Hulk's presence, something that should have been a game-changer in the MCU, but instead it gets reduced to another underwhelming spectacle. One of the MCU's biggest criticisms in recent years has been its declining visual effects quality, and Brave New World does little to counter that trend. While there are a handful of well-choreographed action sequences, particularly Sam's aerial combat scenes, the film is bogged down by an overuse of CGI, especially in the climactic battle. The MCU's visual identity, once defined by practical effects and dynamic cinematography, Winter Soldier remains the gold standard, has been replaced with uninspired green screen heavy set pieces. The film's pacing is also uneven, oscillating between slow political exposition and rushed action sequences that lack dramatic tension. The lack of a compelling villain further weakens the film, Unlike past antagonists such as Zemo, Civil War, or even the Red Skull, the first Avenger, Brave New World fails to provide a memorable threat. Beyond the CGI concerns, Marvel's ongoing behind the scenes troubles are beginning to show. Frequent rewrites, shifting creative teams, and constant delays have impacted the MCU's overall quality. Brave New World is yet another example of a movie that feels like it went through multiple versions before landing on an end product that, while serviceable, lacks the polish and vision that earlier phases of the MCU were known for. In many ways, Captain America Brave New World embodies the current state of the MCU, a franchise caught between reinvention and repetition. While it takes some risks introducing Sam Wilson as the definitive Captain America, the execution feels more like a stopgap than a bold new direction. The film's political aspirations are undercut by a lack of narrative focus, and its action sequences fail to compensate for the lack of emotional depth. With the Marvels flopping, Deadpool and Wolverine carrying the weight of the franchise's last hope, and Brave New World failing to restore faith in the grounded storytelling Marvel was once known for, the MCU is in a precarious position. Marvel Studios needs more than just new faces in old roles to revive audience excitement. It needs the heart, stakes, and compelling storytelling that made its early films iconic. If Brave New World is any indication, the MCU still has a long way to go before it finds its next great chapter. Brave? Sure. A new world? More like a recycled one.